What's going on, everybody? Back with our first mock draft of the year, playoff edition, if you will. I'm just gonna say the thumbnail I have in this video, not graphic design, not my best quality. Just you know, hopefully the content itself is better than the graphic design. But anyway, we're gonna jump right into it. We are gonna do trades for this one. Depending on how this one goes, we'll see what differentiates in the future. Without further ado, let's just get right into it. Chicago, I don't see them sticking at the number one pick. I really don't. I think it's going to come down between Houston and Indy. And I'm going to go with Indy. I just feel like, they've been playing the veteran quarterback carousel for a while now, so I think it's time for them to, just go with a rookie, start over. And I mean, we'll just do whatever it takes to. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, got Indy trading up to number 1. Chicago moving down to 4. So Indy at 1, obviously quarterback, of course. It's gonna be all up to what they prefer. Do they? I mean, I know teams like Will Levis, and I understand why. Kind of the same with Anthony Richardson. Very, this huge amount of potential. Not NFL ready yet. So I think if you're the Colts, you got to go NFL ready here, and I don't see why you move up to number 1 if you're not going to take Bryce Young, in my opinion. Houston, just the next quarterback ready one to fall right in their lap. C.J. Stroud. Easy, in my opinion, easy decision there. Get yourself a quarterback you can start day 1, and hopefully for the long-term future. Cardinals gonna get their first choice at a defensive player, edge, D-line, you name it. I think that they need edge more. In my opinion, the only generational player in this draft is Jalen Carter, because very good interior D linemen are so hard to find that I want to say that Arizona would go Jalen Carter here. I just think that edge is more of a need for them than interior D line. So I think they go Will Anderson here. Can't go wrong with that pick, in my opinion. But it's up to preference again. So Chicago, kind of the same thing for them. They need to upgrade everywhere that's not quarterback. Justin Fields is pretty much the only good thing they got going for him right now at this point, and they, for whatever reason, traded basically what was a first-round pick for Chase Claypool, which is, yeah. So, I mean, I think for them, they probably go with Jalen Carter if they pick at 1 anyway. But, they trade down to 4, acquire all those extra picks, and still get them regardless. So, here with Seattle, as you can see, a common trend here with Arizona, Chicago, Seattle, even Detroit, probably even Vegas too, is that edge and interior D-line are all big needs. For Seattle, got to go edge here. I prefer Tyree Wilson over Myles Murphy. Not saying that Myles Murphy is bad. He's not. Dude is a beast. But I just think that Tyree Wilson has that higher motor. I'm a Raiders fan. He kind of reminds me of Max Crosby a little bit. So yeah, I just think he has the higher motor. Tyree Wilson to Seattle here. On to Detroit. You could go D-line here with Brian Brzee. I don't think Brian Brzee goes as high. Probably cornerback. There are 4 or 5. 4. There's 4 cornerbacks I think could be the first one to be taken. That is between Joey Porter Jr., Christian Gonzalez, Cam Smith, Devin Witherspoon. Devin Witherspoon, very underrated. I think he's going to go a lot higher than people think he is. Cam Smith, I properly rated Joey Porter Jr. My favorite cornerback in this draft is Christian Gonzalez. Very physical, long arms, long, just big bodied. I think if you're the Lions, you go Christian Gonzalez here. Get more physical in the back end there. Raiders, I know quarterback is the big question here, but my opinion, the defense is so abysmal that you have to do everything you can to upgrade it. And edge with Myles Murphy being here definitely definitely is a position to lean on. Cornerback, definitely a position to lean on. I think for the Raiders, I'm going to go corner here, and I'm actually going to take Devin Witherspoon. Like I said, very underrated in my opinion. Plus, it seems like Illinois is kind of building a little bit of a DB factory they got going over there. They have a couple other safeties in this draft as well. So, going cornerback there. Falcons, same thing we touched on earlier. Edge, D-line. I think they're pretty happy. Myles Murphy falls into their lap here. No question about that. Carolina, I think you go quarterback. I'm not saying Sam Darnold is going to be your future. That's just not it at all. I mean, we're going to take Will Levis here. But Sam Darnold played well enough at the end of last year that I think you're kind of comfortable enough with him going into next season to be more of a bridge guy until Will is ready. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen in, free agency. There's going to be multiple quarterbacks on the move, and we'll see who goes where. But as of right now, I think he's good enough as a bridge quarterback to where, okay, you can sit Will behind Sam for a year. You just brought in Frank Reich as your new head coach, who is, been a quarterback specialist. I mean, he was a quarterback in the NFL, and he is a quarterback specialist as a coach, but, you hope that development goes well there. Philadelphia goes back to corner here. It's funny to say because, they have two of the better cornerbacks in all of football, and Darius Slay and James Bradbury, based on how they played this past year. But, I mean, long-term, lock it up. My opinion, Joey Porter Jr., Philadelphia. Make that DB room very scary. Tennessee Titans. Definitely tackle or wide receiver here. I just think tackle is a more valuable position. In my opinion, you go Paris Johnson. I know that there's questions about, what's going to happen with Taylor Lewan. Is he going to stay or leave? I know you just drafted NPT this past year out of Ohio State as well, Paris Johnson. If Taylor Lewan leaves, there you go. Great replacement for him. I just think either way, you got to get younger and healthier at tackle. Houston, first wide receiver off the board here. Keep Quentin Johnson in Texas. Can't go wrong with a big-bodied, fast wide receiver. He's like 6'4", probably going to run like a 4.4 40. Can't go wrong with it. Jets, has to be O-line. Has to be. Mekhi Becton, I know he's been hurt a lot. Hasn't been, what you want him to be. Dwayne Brown's not the long-term answer. You just got to get healthier and better at tackle. And I just think Peter Skoronski, in my opinion, I think Skoronski is the best tackle in this draft. But I can see the appeal of why Paris Johnson would go first. It's just because Peter Skoronski's got these short arms. So people, people know the NFL in the draft. It's all this ticky-tack, very tedious little things that, coaches and GMs get scared about. And, yeah, it's just... Anyway, Skoronski might be the best tackle in the draft. Patriots, same thing. Offensive line. Your best O-lineman is Michael Onwenu. Tackles need an upgrade. Trent Brown's not it. You just gotta get better up front. Broderick Jones, easy pick there. And personally, in my opinion, I think you could take any of the three tackles that just went off in any order. I wouldn't even be surprised, if Broderick Jones was the first one taken, or if Skoronski was the first one taken. In any order, I could see it happening. Green Bay, see, here's the thing. I want to give them a wide receiver here, but we all know how Green Bay works. They don't draft wide receivers in the first round. So, with that being said, I think they dip into the tight end pool and take Michael Mayer. Personally, I think Michael Mayer is a beast. He's like 6'5", 260. Can play like a wide receiver and can block like an offensive lineman. I think that's what you want as a tight end, of course. Seems like more so nowadays, guys are either one or the other. You're either really good at receiving or really good at blocking. I think he's very good at both. If you look at Daniel Jeremiah's rankings, he actually has Dalton Kincaid and Darnell Washington above Mayer. Obviously not saying that that's a bad ranking or anything, because I think Kincaid and Washington are both beasts themselves. This is a very good tight end class. It's just another one where it's just kind of all preference. What do you prefer at the tight end position? But yeah, Michael Mayer here first tight end off the board. Washington gonna dip right back into the cornerback pool, going Cam Smith. You have Benjamin St-Juste, who had a very good season this past year, and he's very young still. He's only going to continue to develop. So you pair him with another cornerback like Cam Smith, who is very NFL ready in my opinion. You could have some two very good cornerbacks back there in that secondary. Pittsburgh, you could again dip right back into cornerback position. I think they go tackle here. Tackle is so weird because you could see either 3 tackles go in the first round, or you could see like 8 tackles go in the first round. I think this list, even all the way down to Bergeron, could all go in the first round. So, with that being said, Steelers, Anton Harrison, just got to get better up front. With Najee Harris, you got to make sure that run game stays fluent. Detroit could go Brian Brzee. I also really like the Trent Simpson pick here for them. You know what? I think we're going to take Brian Brzee. Try to, obviously Aiden Hutchinson was a great pick. James Houston, great rookie they had last year. It seems like edge is almost good for them. If, you just get that more of a push out the middle. If you pair Brian Brzee with Aleem McNeil, who knows, man? You could have a great defensive line. You win in the trenches. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's another one. Got to go cornerback again. I don't think Keely Ringo is a first round cornerback. That's just my opinion. He has his physical traits are good. Height, size, speed, very good. It's just that when you watch him play, he just looks like he isn't completely aware of the situation a lot of the time. And that kind of puts me off from him. I actually like Emmanuel Forbes a lot. We're going to go Emmanuel Forbes here, Tampa Bay. Now, back to Seattle. Probably a little bummed out that, Brian Brezee's off the board. I'm sure that they would have loved a stopgap defensive lineman right there. Could go corner again. Could look at the quarterback spot, because I know that Geno Smith had a great year this year. I just don't think he's the long-term answer, of course. So with that being said, Anthony Richardson to the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, Geno's going to be good enough to where you can keep him at least another year or two while Anthony Richardson develops. He might be a 2-year developmental project. Even like Will Levis, honestly, could be. Chargers, I think that they go right back into the offensive line. They drafted Zion Johnson last year. Great guard. They got to continue to get better up front. Draft somebody like DeJuan Jones. Absolutely massive human being. He's like 6'8", like 360. Yeah, just a massive dude. It's just going to be hard to move him. Especially in a division like the AFC West where you got a bunch of good edge rushers. It's just, always better to have very, immovable objects as offensive linemen. Into Baltimore. I think you go wide receiver here, in my opinion. You could also go corner. Actually, no. We're gonna go cornerback here. We're gonna take Clark Phillips. Baltimore just got to get better in the secondary. Not much more to be said about that. Kind of like Minnesota here. Oh man. You know, I know I'm going against what I just said, as that I don't think Ringo is a first round talent. I mean, yeah, but they could go wide receiver here though. Really shake things up a little bit. You know what? Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Brian Branch from Minnesota. Brian Branch, safety, nickel corner. Can even play in the box as linebacker. I think if you can get, you know, like a multi-tool right there with him, Minnesota would be very satisfied about that. Now, I'm not saying that Jacksonville doesn't draft well, because they have, and that's why they've gotten as far as they have. But I'm sorry, it sounds like I'm like really hating a lot. I just like, I don't know. You know, if Kelee Ringo can work on the mental stuff that he has going on in the secondary, he'll be fine. Like, his physical traits are there. I think Kelee Ringo is going to go to the Jags. I know you got Shaquille Griffin back there. He's been okay. You know, Rayshawn Jenkins took over basically at safety. Tyson Campbell had a great year. I think if you can, you know, get a duo back there that can really work, I think you'll be in good hands. Giants, to me, got to be wide receiver. Jordan Addison, get yourself a wide receiver 1 for Daniel Jones if you're locking him up long term. You know, pretty obvious there. Dallas could go back a corner. I don't see any of these guys going in the first round. Dallas could also get a wide receiver. So I think is actually what we're going to do. We're going to go Jalen Hyatt here. I think Dallas needs a true deep threat. You know, CeeDee Lamb's more of a do-it-all, obviously. But if you get yourself a legitimate deep threat there, it really, you know, opens up the offense for you. Buffalo, in my opinion, got to either be interior O-line or running back. Now, I know running back has been devalued a lot, but man, Bijan Robinson is the best running back prospect we've seen in quite some time. But I can see why you'd want to upgrade the O-line first because of its struggles. Nah, I got to give him Bijan Robinson. I don't see how the Bills pass on Bijan Robinson. You know, they have no running game at all. They're a very one-dimensional offense, and I think that's one thing that kind of bit them at the end of the year. Just that, like, everybody knows you're just going to pass it or Josh Allen's just going to run it. If you can get yourself a very good running back, man, like, for the Bills especially, it's like, then you finally can almost do all this stuff that you want to do. You know, when it comes to, like, even middle of the game, man, it's just everybody knows what you're going to do, and it's just, I understand that offense is good enough to where they can win most of the time anyway, but talk about opening up an offense. Cincinnati Bengals, going to go tight end here. I'm going to give them Dalton Kincaid. I don't know what the future holds for Hayden Hurst there. I know he's been very good with Cincinnati. But getting Dalton Kincaid on that offense, passing game would be absolutely insane. I can't imagine that giving Joe Burrow more weapons is a bad thing. All right, on to Denver here. Their edge rush was pretty non-existent last year. You know, they traded Bradley Chubb. Randy Gregory got hurt. If you're here, you know, you got to take an edge rusher. With that being said, I think you go Nolan Smith here. I know he hasn't showed a lot, but the potential is definitely there. I mean, if we learned anything from last year, you can't really go wrong with taking any defensive player from Georgia. It's just how it is. Kansas City is kind of the same way. Edge isn't really there. I mean, you got an insane defensive tackle that gets you 16 sacks, which is unheard of, on the interior D line. But again, they drafted George Karlaftis. He was but I think you get yourself an NFL ready one like Isaiah Foskey. Yeah, just try to make your pass rush better. Back to Philly. Philly, again, edge. You got guys up there that are getting a little bit older. Brandon Graham's getting up there. I know he's not an edge rusher, but Fletcher Cox is getting up there too. I think you get a guy like Lucas Van Ness who can play edge, but also interior D-line, in my opinion. Could be great there for Philly for the long run, really. Just depending on where you want to put him. And then the Steelers, I think we go interior D-line here. I don't know how much longer Cam Hayward's going to be around. Get yourself a replacement for the future. Siaki Ika, in my opinion, great option to replace there. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully we'll do another one soon here, probably right after the season. Yeah, thank you. Please feel free to leave comments, thoughts, agreements, disagreements, whatever you thought in the comments. Any feedback is appreciated. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See ya.